Hey there, welcome to Livewire. I'm your host, Luke Burbank. We have a great show this week. First up, we're going to talk to columnist and celebrated author R. Eric Thomas. He's got a new memoir out titled, Congratulations, the Best is Over, which is, believe it or not, much less depressing than the name would indicate. Eric is going to explain how he realized baking cupcakes was actually a cry for help for him, and how we can find joy in the middleness of life, which it turns out is what life is mostly made up of. The middle parts. Then we are going to hear some stand-up from comedian, actor, and proud son of Portland, Ian Karmel. He says Arby's is a farm-to-table restaurant, and he can prove it. Then we're going to hear some music from the indie band NONBINARY GIRLFRIEND. This is going to be a good one, so stick around. Livewire gets started right after this.
I'm Alex Schwartz.
I'm Nomi Fry.
I'm Vincent Cunningham, and this is Critics at Large, a New Yorker podcast for the culturally curious.
Each week, we're going to talk about a big idea that's showing up across the cultural landscape, and we'll trace it through all the mediums we love. Books, movies, television, music, art.
And I always want to talk about celebrity gossip, too.
Of course.
We hope you'll join us for new episodes each Thursday. Follow Critics at Large today, wherever you get podcasts.
This episode of Livewire is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. What if comparing car insurance rates was as easy as putting on your favorite podcast? With Progressive, it is. Just visit the Progressive website to quote with all the coverages you want. You'll see Progressive's direct rate, and then their tool will provide options from other companies so you can compare. All you need to do is choose the rate and coverage you like. Quote today at Progressive.com to join the over 28 million drivers who trust Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Comparison rates not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy. This episode of Livewire was originally recorded in November of 2023. We hope you enjoy it. Let's take a listen. Hey there, Elena.
Hey, Luke. How's it going?
It is going fabulously this week, especially because we are about to play another round of station location identification examination. Are you ready?
Yes, I am so ready.
This is where I quiz Elena on a place in the United States where Livewire's on the radio. She's got to guess where I'm talking about. This is a place that gets very snowy. The locals refer to the snow that they get in the area as champagne powder.
Oh, my.
Which is the lightest, fluffiest powder you can imagine.
So it sounds like both a moneyed place and a place with skiing. Okay. So I've narrowed it down to 3 states.
Okay. It has about 150 natural hot springs.
That did not help at all.
Okay. It's home to more Olympians than any other place in the U.S. 1 out of every 136 individuals who compete as Olympians apparently live in this place. So it's got springs. It's in a snowy place. How might you get to those springs? Maybe take a certain kind of maritime vessel?
Is it Steamboat Springs?
It's Steamboat Springs, Colorado, where we're on KRNC Radio.
What a hint, Burbank. What a hint.
I don't know if that's what the steamboat is even named for in the name. I just figured it might lead you in the right direction. So shout out to everybody listening in Steamboat Springs, Colorado. All right, should we get to the show?
Let's do it.
All right, take it away.
From PRX, it's...
This week, columnist and author R. Eric Thomas.
When I moved back, I started seeing a therapist, and I was like, I need to have couples counseling. And he was like, with your husband? And I was like, no, me in the city of Baltimore.
And comedian Ian Karmel.
Arby's is a farm-to-table restaurant. It's a worse farm, and the table is bolted to the floor.
With music from Non-Binary Girlfriend and our fabulous house band. I'm your announcer, Elena Passarello, and now, the host of Livewire, Luke Burbank.
Thank you so much, Elena Passarello. Thanks to everyone tuning in to Livewire from all over the country, including the fine folks in Steamboat Springs, Colorado. We have an exceptional show in store for you this week. Of course, we asked the audience a question. We asked our listeners, what's the most surprising difference between you and your partner? That will make more sense as the show unfolds. We're going to hear those responses coming up. But first, of course, we have to kick things off with the best news we heard all week. This is our little reminder at the top of the program. There is some good news happening out there in the world occasionally. We just have to find it for you sometimes. Elena, what is the best news you've heard this week?
I don't know if this is going to be the best news for everybody, but have you ever been a part of a book club, Mr. Burbank?
I was in a book club for the graphic novel Watchmen. I think that was the one and only book club I've been in.
That's a good one. I've never been a part of one, but if I was a part of one, I think I'd want to be a part of this one. There's a Southern California book club that was started by Jerry Fialka, a filmmaker in Venice, and they only read one book. And they've only been reading this book for 28 years, and they just finished it. The book is Finnegan's Wake. Do you know about this book?
I know that it's famously lengthy, correct?
Yes, it's 650 pages. It was written by James Joyce. I had a theory that no one had actually read Finnegan's Wake. Now I stand corrected. But it's sort of written in a lot of different languages. There's some made-up languages in it. One of the book club members describes some of the pages of Finnegan's Wake as looking like complete typographical errors. So this book club has been meeting for 28 years, and they only cover about 2 pages a session. And instead of doing that thing where they're like kind of doing like literary interpretation or thinking about plot, because I mean, there is a plot, but like people aren't 100% sure where the novel is set or what any of the characters are. Like it's that cryptic of a book. So this group instead, Fialka says he treats it more like performance art or like a hootenanny or like a choir. They read pages out loud. They open 30 different Wikipedia tabs and they just kind of like geek out together, and not in a way that necessarily turns into scholarship. It just turns into this kind of artistic practice. One guy who joined 15 years ago when they were only about like 40 pages in, he drove like 3 hours round trip from San Diego to attend the book club because he said it's kind of hard finding people who will talk about this book with you.
I love this. This is a book club that I could actually be a part of, I think.
Listen to what this group did. They finished the book this month. And do you know what these people did upon finishing Finnegan's Wake? They started right back over again.
That's great. My best news story takes us to Cumberland Township, Pennsylvania, where a woman named Chelsea Rumbaugh has a farm, and she recently got a new pig for her farm. And by the way, I think this is the kind of farm where they raise animals to be, sort of therapy animals. So this pig presumably had a pretty good life in front of it, but it didn't know that because it kept burrowing under the fence and escaping from Chelsea's farm there in Cumberland Township. It happened like 3 times, and the final time, this pig really got away, like got far away, and they couldn't find it. And so she had to set up a Facebook page to try to find the pig. And the title for the Facebook page was Bring Kevin Bacon Home, because the pig was named Kevin Bacon. And Chelsea was hoping to get some tips on any Kevin Bacon the pig sightings around the area. And of course, because the internet, this made its way to the awareness of one actual Kevin Bacon.
Nice.
Who was posting it on his socials, Bring Kevin Bacon Home. And so this, of course, really sort of increased the awareness around the escaped pig. And apparently it worked because somebody finally caught up with the pig Kevin Bacon. It took a couple of weeks.
Aww.
The pig Kevin Bacon had taken to just approaching people on the street and just getting food from them. And so when somebody figured out that this pig that was going around mooching food off of humans was the Kevin Bacon that was missing, they put a bunch of Benadryl in a sticky bun. He ate the sticky bun. He went to sleep from the Benadryl, and they were able to load him into a truck and get him back to the farm, which has now been getting so much attention that Chelsea says that this is going to help speed along their plans to turn the property into a free farm that is open to the public and that is specifically designed for adults and children who've struggled with PTSD, anxiety, and depression to come visit the animals, including Kevin Bacon the pig. So that right there, the safe return of one Kevin Bacon, thanks to the help from another Kevin Bacon. That's the best news that I heard all week. All right, let's invite our first guest on over to the program. He is the best-selling author of Here For It, or How to Save Your Soul in America. He's written for TV. He's an award-winning playwright. And he's the person behind the popular Eric Reads the News column that was in Elle magazine for years. His latest book is Congratulations, the Best is Over, and it examines what happens after someone gets what they thought was their happily ever after. This is our Eric Thomas, who joined us on stage at the Alberta Rose Theater in Portland, Oregon.
Hi.
Welcome.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here. I really love this show, and I really love Portland. I'm like, oh, this is my favorite thing.
Well, you're one of our favorite things. I loved this book so much, but for folks that haven't gotten to familiarize themselves yet, I want to kind of set up the plot. So basically, you grew up in Baltimore?
I did, yeah.
And it sounds like you grew up in a really loving family. You had a kind of a pretty good thing going, but also you write in this book that you had a toxic relationship with Baltimore.
Yeah.
What did Baltimore do to you?
Well, where to start, okay? I went to my therapist. When I moved back, I started seeing a therapist, and I was like, I need to have couples counseling. And he was like, with your husband? And I was like, no, me in the city of Baltimore. Like, I think it's the place where you're from is always, it knows all the ghosts of the people that you used to be, right? And that was
a very knowing groan from the audience.
Yeah.
I mean, like, and that's like, it never goes away. You never shake that off. There were places where I would pass and I'd remember things I had done or things that had happened to me. And so there's all this like physical memory. And then also the city of Baltimore is always becoming. They have changed the city motto like 4 times.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's currently the greatest city in America, which I was like, is this shade? Like, like no offense. But whenever I tell people where I'm from, they either say, I love Hairspray or I love The Wire. So like the greatest city, we're overshooting here, you know?
Yeah.
That's like me saying I'm the greatest basketball player in America. Like,
they did name the bathrooms, though, at the museum for John Waters.
They did.
At his request.
That's pretty good.
yeah, which is amazing.
The greatest city in America not do that?
I mean,
no, they
true.
wouldn't.
That is greatness.
Yes.
Greatness has visited upon the city like a ghost seeing Scrooge. But like, does it live there? I don't know. So this was all the energy I was bringing back with me when I moved back. And I was like, babe, this is not healthy. Like, you can't be like every morning, like, good morning, Baltimore. What
You can't
now?
Harvey Firestein it.
Yeah.
Darling, hold mommy's waffles. From Hairspray.
Good. Well done.
So the kind of the arc of this book is you're living in Philadelphia for a while. You're kind of like looking to find yourself and figure out what you are artistically interested in and stuff. And there's a moment where you're working at the Hard Rock Cafe, and you're still kind of finding your artistic voice. What is it like working at the Hard Rock Cafe while still trying to find one's artistic voice?
I have to say, it was an eye-opening experience. I worked there for 6 or 7 years. And at first it was just like a money job and I didn't know what I was doing. And I would come home every day like covered in like barbecue sauce and like bits of the jumbo combo, But I grew up evangelical, and so I never listened to like the devil's music. And so I'd be like at the Hard Rock hearing the devil's music and I'd be like, oh, this is Metallica? Oh, this isn't so bad, I discovered that all the devil's music was playing at every car and Jeep commercial that I'd ever heard. So kind of that's how it gets you. So it's like, do you want to drive a Ford? And I would like write in my server book like little snatches of plays and stories. Some of those stories started off in like a barbecue sauce stained server book and ended up 10 years later in your hand, which is amazing to me. So thanks to Hard Rock.
Yeah, fantastic.
We're talking to our Eric Thomas. Now, this isn't in the book, but I heard you mention it during something else that you were talking about, and it really intrigued me. You were saying that during this period of time, you weren't, I don't think you were at Hard Rock Cafe, you were at a different restaurant, but you heard that Patti LaBelle liked to eat there, and you made it a personal mission to be there when Miss Patti LaBelle was there.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Miss Patti LaBelle. So this was when I was living in Philly, and I had not wanted to move to Philly either. I have a weird relationship with cities. We were talking about this before. Maybe it's me, but I don't think so. I just can't see how it could be. And so I didn't want to move to Philly. I didn't like Philly. I remember I'd seen the movie Philadelphia. I was like, got it, you know. Because the city looks post-apocalyptic, I gotta say, like in that movie. It's better now, but anyway. But one shining North Star for me was Patti LaBelle lived there. She lives on the main line in Philadelphia, and she liked to go to this one restaurant called Pod. And I was like, I'm gonna work at Pod one day. And then I got a job at Pod, and then she came in on my day off. And no, don't test me. Patti LaBelle, don't be playing games with me. So the pastry chef, Danielle, called me on my Patti phone. There's one phone in my house. Attached to the wall, it sings, "New Attitude!" And she's like, "Get here right now." And I ran, and I took this picture with Patti LaBelle. And one of the funniest things, she goes to this upscale sushi fusion restaurant, and she would order like a salad with balsamic vinaigrette. And I'm like, perfect. That's all you need.
That's all she gets.
That's all you need. I love her. So it was the best. So that's called having a dream.
Yeah. Well, you also met someone almost as important as Patti LaBelle in Philadelphia, which was your future and now husband, David. I want to talk about that after this quick break. This is Livewire from PRX. We're talking to R. Eric Thomas about his new book, Congratulations, The Best Is Over. We got to take a quick break, but we'll be back in just a moment. Stay with us. Welcome back to Livewire from PRX this week, coming to you from the Alberta Rose Theater, right here in Portland, Oregon. I'm Luke Burbank here with Elena Passarello. We're talking to R. Eric Thomas about his new book, Congratulations, The Best Is Over. Okay, so you met Miss Patti LaBelle, but you also met your future husband, David, who, when he proposed to you, you write in this book, he did so when y'all were on a hike. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Which was like probably your second pick for where he would propose. Where were you hoping he would propose?
Well, I was hoping that he would propose in the place where every good thing has happened to me, Pod, the sushi restaurant.
Wait, the same one?
Yeah. No, I really wanted, even though they had fired me. And I was like, I don't care. I'll go back. I still have my Cobra paperwork. I'll come back. No, but I always imagined. So my husband David, he's from this area. He grew up in Sherwood, and he's an outdoor cat. He loves gardening. He worked on a farm in Japan for years. He is an Eagle Scout. I am an indoor cat. And so my choice, I was like, it'll be a cute thing if we get engaged by, you go to one of those sushi bars where they rotate around on the conveyor belt, and you just put the ring in one of them, on one of the little maki, right? Yeah. I know, right?
Cute.
Look at your face.
Very cute, yes.
You love this. Everyone loves this. And then you're like, pick that maki. And you're like, I don't want a California roll. And they're like, I think you should have one. And there's a video of Godzilla playing, and you're like, oh! He was like, but what if we go to Bend, Oregon? And I was like, okay. And hike up Black Butte. Lots of cheers from people who have no taste. I'm just kidding. No, because I was like, we got to fly across the country and then hike up this mountain. He's like, oh, it's not a mountain. It's a stratovolcano. And I was like, okay, I'm not even worth a mountain? We got to go to Everest. But we went to Bend and we hiked up this mountain, this stratovolcano, and
Did you have an inkling that something was up?
Oh yeah, we'd already decided. We knew. Yeah, we talked about it. I had the Facebook post pre-written. Like I was very.
You knew you were going up this volcano to get proposed to.
Yeah, or get thrown in. I don't know.
Okay.
You know.
Right.
And but I get to the top, and he had written some words that for both of us to read to each other, and then we built a cairn, and he explained to me what a cairn is, and. He said it was a place where people return to when they lose their way or when something changes in their path. And I started to sob on that mountain because I was 35 years old and I had been on 9 million terrible dates. And I just didn't think that this was in the cards for me. And not only was it in the cards, but this person from across the country traveled across this land, found me, brought me back, dragged me up a stratovolcano to prove to me that I was loved. And I cried so hard that I was like, we got to tell those hikers that I'm not being broken up with. Like. I was really worried. I was embarrassed. Oh, man.
We are talking to R. Eric Thomas about his new book, Congratulations, The Best Is Over. The book is so funny, but also, the cover of the book is an upside-down cupcake, which is a reference to a kind of a time in your life where you got really into baking cupcakes, probably because you were also dealing with some depression. And I'm curious, I feel like this book is written... it's so funny, but it's also written for people that could be having a real cupcake week, as it were. What was that period like for you?
It was in my early 20s. I was like fully 29, but that's early.
It was like January of your 29th year, so it's early in that year.
Yeah. It can still happen for me. The blush of youth was still across my face, and I wasn't making any progress creatively, professionally, romantically. I was in this very low period, which is sort of sometimes what your early to late middle 20s is, and sometimes it's your 30s or your 40s. It's life, and I'd gone through a friend breakup, and I just started. I just wanted a cupcake. I was like, but you can't just make one cupcake. So I made a dozen cupcakes. And I kept making cupcakes because it made me happy. And I was living with this guy, EJ, who was a bodybuilder, and he was counting macros. And I'm covering the kitchen with buttercream icing. He was so hot. And and I was like, am I going through something? And everybody who knew me was like, are you going through something? You make 7 cakes a week. And they're not good. But sometimes you go through these cupcake days. And I just think that, ultimately it's a book about sort of approaching your cupcake days in your 20s, your 30s, your 40s, your 50s, your 70s. Having this period where you think, is it over for me? Is this done? Did I miss it? Did I miss the party? Making your own party and then figuring out what's next,
I feel like a theme that comes up in this book, along with all the humor, is the middleness of life, which is the worst part. It's like when my therapist would talk about it, like being in a swimming pool, but in the middle of a pool and you don't know how deep it is.
Oh, yeah.
We know what clinging to the side is. We know what being mad at someone is. We know what loving someone is. We know what good and bad feels like. All the middle stuff is really terrifying at times. How have you, I guess, through your life and through the writing of this book and your relationship with your husband, found a way to be in those middle times and spaces?
I'd like to phone a friend. Can we get my therapist on the line? No, I think one of the things that came out of this book and the experience of writing this book, and also really talking about it afterwards, is sort of a secondary metaphor. The end of the book, we get a house and there's a huge garden, and I have a typically hard time in the garden. Just maybe it's me, but I don't think so. But what I think about the middleness, I feel like I always felt like there was a shoe about to drop. And now I think of the middle as this garden where I'm planting seeds. And some seeds I'm going to get to see sprout, and some seeds are annuals, and some seeds are perennials. And some seeds are going to outlive me. And that used to really scare me. Because I don't want to not be here. And the middle is about saying goodbye to so many things and also saying hello to some things that you know are coming and you don't want to. There was a speech I heard once that talked about how when you sit at the base of a tree, you're not at the bottom of it, you're in the middle of the tree. You're being held by the tree. Because the root system is sometimes as big or bigger than the canopy. And I think about life like that, as this root system, this fertile place, this compost space. But then you turn it and it becomes something fertile and beautiful, and you put it on the ground and up pops the tulip. Up pops this thing that you're like, I don't think I planted that. Did you plant that? Up pops a weed. So yeah, that's how I think about the middle now.
Yeah.
I don't have a choice but to be here, but I'm going to farm.
That is so much more useful of an answer than I got from my therapist. If I'm being totally honest.
It's much better than a pool.
It was a lot of... I paid a lot of money over the years to hear a less useful answer than what you just gave. Right here on Livewire. That's R. Eric Thomas here on the show. All right. All right, as we have been talking about, you wrote about your cupcake days where you were getting really into baking. Maybe even too into baking, although that's a fairly tame hobby to pick up. Turns out that there are some much stranger hobbies out there enjoyed by some of the most famous people in the world. And we wanted to sort of quiz you on some of these strange hobbies that famous people have. Would you like to participate?
Yes.
Okay. Starting with Beyonce.
Let's go.
Which one of these is a real hobby of Beyonce? Is it bedazzling things? Is it beekeeping? Or is it making balloon animals?
Oh, that's interesting. Okay, so I think bedazzling is J-Lo. So
okay, all right. Through the process of elimination, I've
eliminated one.
Yeah.
Beekeeping, that. I mean, it would be really smart of her to do that. I'm going to go balloon animals. Oh no!
I wish she did though.
I know, right?
Really what shapes would she make?
Oh gosh, like little unicorns. Like she'd like
unicorn. Yeah.
Like everything would look like a dog, but she'd be like, "This is a goat," and you'd be like, "Okay."
It turns out it's beekeeping.
Get out of here!
Yeah.
Oh, bravo!
It's very on brand.
Yes. Yeah.
As Elena said in rehearsal, it's a little on the nose.
Yeah.
Beyonce. So it turns out a couple of her kids have allergies, and she had found out that this honey, so she got 2 hives at her house because the honey is good for her kids' allergies.
I love that. I also love that Beyonce's not heard of going to Whole Foods, or like a farmer's market. She's like, we need local honey. Well, we got to set up 3 acres of bees.
Right.
But she's also saving the world, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
That's right.
So.
All right. How about Rod Stewart?
Oh, gosh.
Is Rod Stewart's hobby puppetry, building model railways, or an endurance kind of sport where they drop a ferret into your trousers and you have to see how long you can stand it? It's called ferret legging. I believe it's big in the UK. Which one of these 3 things is a hobby that Sir Rod Stewart participates in?
I'm going to be so mad if it's ferret legging. I'm going to be so... I mean, that feels very complex.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with option B, model trains.
You're going to be absolutely right. Building model railways.
That's right.
He is apparently obsessed to the point where Rod Stewart was once on the cover of Railway Modeler magazine, which he said meant more to him than being on the cover of Rolling Stone.
Yes. I I have that cover framed in my office at work.
No.
Wait, are you serious?
He looks so happy. I look at it when I'm having a bad day
Oh my
to
goodness.
remind myself that people can be happy. He's found his passion.
Oh, I love that.
All right, how about Penelope Cruz, the great actor Penelope Cruz? Is Penelope's hobby treasure hunting, collecting coat hangers, or making bookmarks?
You know what? I think that she is a treasure hunter. I think she's trying to spelunk into a cave and find the heart of the ocean.
She is hunting for treasure, but she finds it in coat hangers.
Oh, she goes to dry cleaners?
She apparently loves to collect coat hangers, especially non-metal ones, and has a collection of over 500 coat hangers. Can you imagine going to Penelope Cruz's house and she's like, "Can I show you my coat hangers?"
I'd call the police. I'm sorry. I love one of the most talented people and brilliant people, Oscar winner, should be a 2-time Oscar winner in my opinion. And she's like, "Oh man, we got to stop by Target on the way home."
Right.
I'm fiending Javier. Are rich people bored?
Yes. I believe they are. I will tell you a time when one will never be bored. When you are reading R. Eric Thomas's new book, congratulations, The Best is Over. Eric, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thanks, everybody.
That was R. Eric Thomas right here on Livewire. His new book is Congratulations, The Best is Over, and it's out and available now. Hey, special thanks this episode to Morris Malakoff of Vancouver, Washington. Morris is part of the Livewire member community and is generously supporting the show with a donation each month, which is absolutely vital to both the mission of Livewire and the bank account of Livewire, which we need so we can keep doing our mission. Big thanks to Morris this week for keeping Livewire going. This is Livewire. Of course, each week we like to ask our listeners a question related to the program. This week we asked, what's the most surprising difference between you and your partner? Elena has been collecting up those responses. What are you seeing?
Oh, these are great. And a surprising amount of them involve peanut butter, like this one from Lily. Lily says, I love peanut butter. If something has peanut butter in it, I'm eating it. But my partner is severely allergic to it. We've been together for 4 years now, and I've just had to cut peanut butter out of my life. And it's been hard. I even thought about not pursuing him when I found this out years ago. But we're still happy together without peanut butter.
Can't they have like some kind of peanut butter chamber, some sort of maybe hermetically sealed closet where Lily can go and have a scoop of peanut butter?
A peanut butter panic room.
Right, you know.
I'm trying to think what my peanut butter would be, like something that would make me consider not being with someone, and I think it would be a cat allergy.
Mine would be if they had a pizza allergy. If there was one food that I would have a real difficult time committing to never having in the house again, I'm saying pizza. But luckily, I don't think that that's very common, so I should be okay going forward. What's something else that marks a real difference between one of our listeners and their partner?
Here's a cryptic one from Kate. Kate says, our views on the meaning of Billy Joel's The Piano Man. Debates have been raging for 6 years. I'm right and he's wrong. What could they possibly be debating about? Is he good at his job?
Is it not really 5 o'clock on a Saturday?
Please, Kate, let us know. I want to hear this debate that you're right about, Kate.
It doesn't seem like a song that there would be that many interpretations. In fact, I would say maybe a critical look at the song would say it's pretty obvious. It's really laid right out there. This is not a song that really trades in subtlety. I don't know what's up for interpretation.
It's a declarative song. Although I did think that the line, when I wore a younger man's clothes, was when I wandered under men's clothes for a long time when I was a kid.
All right, one more surprising difference between one of our listeners and their partner.
Here's one from Max. Max says, my partner believes in movie sequels. She will watch a sequel with enthusiasm and respect, but I firmly believe a sequel is never better than the original. Godfather 2, Max.
Well, that's the sort of like recognized rebuttal to that argument, right? Godfather 2?
Yeah, and Babe Pig in the City. Just kidding. That movie stinks. That's a terrifying movie.
Really?
Max says that they have sat through countless bad sequels for their partner, even all 10 Fast and the Furious movies. Wow, that is a commitment.
It's sort of the Piano Man of movies. I think you can really just catch it right from the trailer. You've pretty much got the whole plot. So, all right, thanks to everyone who sent in responses to our listener question. We'll have another one for next week's show coming up in just a bit. In the meantime, our next guest is an Emmy-nominated stand-up comedian, actor, and former co-head writer for The Late Late Show with James Corden. He's performed on Conan, Comedy Central, and Netflix. His debut comedy album, 9.2 on Pitchfork, which I think is a spectacular name for a comedy album. Ian Karmel's comedy special was released back in 2015 to rave reviews. He's also one of the hosts of the great weekly podcast, All Fantasy Everything. This is Ian Karmel, recorded at our show at Show Bar in Portland, Oregon. Take a listen.
I am a proud son of Portland, Oregon. I'm a proud son of Portland, Oregon. Thank you. Yeah. I'm a 39-year-old aging millennial from Portland, Oregon. And when I say that, you know everything you need to know about me. Anything, you know exactly what kind of movies I like, you know what kind of music I listen to, you know exactly what kind of restaurants I like to eat at. I will only eat at a restaurant if they proudly say that they are farm to table. That's it. You too? Yeah. I will only eat at a restaurant if they say that they're farm to table, which is a very silly thing for a restaurant to say, because that's where they grow food. And that's what you eat it off of at every restaurant. Arby's is a farm to table restaurant. It's a worse farm, and the table is bolted to the floor. But it is still a farm to table. When I say farm to table, I specifically mean a farm that is owned by a lovely lesbian couple who left finance and bought goats. And when I say table, I mean a door that used to be on a church that they've turned onto its side, and I sit around it with 6 other couples who I didn't arrive with. And we all talk about the same 3 A24 movies all night. Farm to table. What a silly thing to say, farm to table. Oh, is this a farm to table restaurant? This is farm to table? So when I sit down, it's butt to seat and then eyes to menu, right? It's eyes to menu, order to waiter, waiter to chef, chef to pan, pan to plate. Is that right? Plate to table, food to fork, fork to mouth? Fork to mouth. And let's just say I have to go to the bathroom and do butt to seat. Where is that? Over there? I mentioned I'm 39 and I don't have any kids. I'm 39 with no kids, which means I have a lot of free time. I have too much free time. And I'm starting to worry me because I could feel myself starting to get into QAnon, you know? I could feel it happening. First I looked into it, I was like, what is this? This is really silly. This is stupid. What? He's what? John F. Kennedy Jr. is what? What? He did what? What? And you start getting, I liked the Da Vinci Code too much to know I couldn't fall for QAnon. You know what I mean? Like, I had to pick up a hobby. I had to get into smoking meat just to make sure it didn't happen. I got into smoking meat because I had to get a hobby. And smoking meat and QAnon are actually pretty similar. You end up watching a lot of 90-minute YouTube videos where it's just a sweaty guy in Kentucky talking right into the camera. I got into barbecuing. That's what I did instead. I got married last year. Thank you. I think I'm a good husband. I think I'm a good husband in atypical ways, though. I try to go above and beyond the standard Call of Duty. Like, my wife is a big Taylor Swift fan. Yeah, absolutely. So, when Taylor Swift puts out new music, I will make sure to start a fight where I'm absolutely at fault so she can properly enjoy Taylor Swift's music. Because Because you can't really listen to Taylor Swift if everything is going great at home. You know what I mean? Like, you can, but it just doesn't hit right. You know what I mean? Like, Taylor Swift, when you're in a fight, it's like drinking Bordeaux in Bordeaux. And I want my wife to have that experience. I lost 180 pounds during the pandemic. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Very good for my blood pressure, very confusing for my stand-up comedy career. I used to be able to come up here and say ham sandwich and I would get a standing ovation. Now I'm too hot. Yeah. Too hot to do stand-up now. I'm not relatable. Nobody can relate to my lifestyle. You know what I mean? All I'm ever doing is going to the beach and leasing Jeeps. Nobody wants to hear about that. I'm hot now. No, honestly, my appearance didn't change that much when I lost weight. It really didn't. Like, before I lost weight, I looked like I owned a deli. And now I look like I own a worse deli. I should tell you that losing weight is very easy. A lot of people ask how I did it. Losing weight is very, very simple. It's easy. All you have to do is overcome everything in society. Millions and millions of years of genetic evolution based on the idea of scarcity. And then you don't eat after 8, and that's it. That's it! I should have known it was time to lose weight, because when I would get on fights on Twitter with people, or X, when I would get on fights online with people, they wouldn't even insult me anymore. You know what I mean? They wouldn't even like insult my weight. There was a point when they would like, oh, shut up, fatso. And I eventually gained so much weight that like when I would say something like, Jared Kushner looks like a Banana Republic vampire, you know, like. Some guy with like Oakley's and an American flag hat would comment, you have high blood pressure. Good looking out, thank you. Okay, yeah, right. I didn't go to the doctor when I was heavier. I didn't go to the doctor because it's scary to go to the doctor when you're fat. It's scary. It's hard to do. When you go to the doctor when you're fat, the doctor will just blame it on you being fat. No matter what's wrong with you, they will blame it on you being fat. You could walk into the doctor with a samurai sword sticking out of your torso. And the doctor will be like, we've talked about this so many times. You have to lose some weight. If you go to the doctor, when you're fat and you have asthma, you go to the doctor, he's like, it's cheeseburger fumes. You've been huffing too many cheeseburgers. Going to the doctor is hard in general. Even if you're not fat, going to the doctor is hard. Because sometimes you go to the doctor and you talk yourself into it. You're like, all right, this thing's been bothering me for a while. I've been putting it off, but I gotta go. It's not going away. I gotta go. You make the appointment. And 9 months later, when your appointment comes up, you go to the doctor and you tell him what's wrong, and the doctor's like, huh. That's weird. I don't know what that is. Sorry, thanks for coming in. That should be illegal. That should be against the law. If the doctor doesn't know what's wrong with you, they should have to give you their jacket. You get their jacket now. That's mine. Give me that jacket. I'm not leaving here empty-handed. That's fine. Now, all it takes to be a doctor is not knowing. I can do that. Give me that thing. I'll knock out your client list like that, all right? Just go out to the waiting room. We don't know. Bodies are a mystery. Science still has so far to go. Eat more salt, eat less salt, walk more, walk less, walk while you're eating salt. Get out of here. Everybody have a great day. I got a tea time. I don't know when they got rid of the sticker incentive program at the doctor. Remember when you were a kid and you would go to the doctor and they'd give you a sticker afterwards? How come that goes away just because we're grown up? I don't like that. I didn't consent to that at all. I want a sticker. It's easier for kids to go to the doctor. Nothing's wrong with kids. When you're a kid, all that happens when you go to the doctor is they're like, boy, you're tall. Let's look at your penis. All right, here's the sticker. Go back to the waiting room and play with this weird toy. What was that toy? It was only ever at the doctor. And if you're just listening to this, you know the toy I'm talking about. Think of the toy that's only at the doctor. That toy. What was it? It was like Gen Z can complain about a lot of things. Climate change, the economy, like all that stuff. But they have way better options when they're in the waiting room with the doctor. They can play their Nintendo Switch or anything like that. All we had was this weird, I'm assuming, Nordic socialist toy that encouraged object permanence learning or something. I've been Ian Karmel. Thank you for your time.
That was Ian Karmel right here on Livewire. I'm Luke Burbank. That's Elena Passarello right over there. We've got to take a very quick break, but don't go anywhere. When we get back, we will hear some music from Non-Binary Girlfriend. Livewire is thrilled to be partnering with Portland's own Portal Tea this season. Formerly known as Tea Chai Tay, Portal Tea is the premier tea company in the Pacific Northwest. They make one-of-a-kind, handcrafted tea blends like cinnamon churro chai and blueberry cream Earl Grey. Use the code LIVEWIRE, all lowercase, for 20% off at portaltea.co. Welcome back to Livewire. I'm Luke Burbank here with Elena Passarello. Okay, before we get to our musical guest this week, a little preview of next week's show. We're going to be talking to New York Times bestselling author Bianca Bosker. She has this book out called Get the Picture, a mind-bending journey among the inspired artists and obsessive art fiends who taught me how to see. And it explores the world of fine art as Bianca was trying to answer such questions as, what the hell am I looking at? And also, who buys this stuff? She's also going to tell us about maybe the strangest art piece that she ever participated in, which involves getting sat on. I promise you do not want to miss this story and the other things that you'll be hearing next week, including music from Brittany Davis, who's been called a potent expression of hope by NPR's All Songs Considered. And we're also going to be looking to get your answer to our listener question. Elena, what are we asking the Livewire listeners for next week's show?
We want to know, what industry would you like to go undercover in?
Ooh, exciting.
Just like Bianca Bosker went undercover into the art world, what would you like to infiltrate and get the secrets of?
All right. If you have an answer to that question, go ahead and let us know on Twitter, Facebook, social media places. We're at Livewire Radio, pretty much everywhere. This is Livewire from PRX. Our musical guest this week was formed to impress someone who ended up never showing up for the concert in question. That is okay, though, because it turns out this band impressed tons of other people instead, even winning the Portland's Best New Band competition. Take a listen to Non-Binary Girlfriend, recorded at the Alberta Rose Theater in Portland, Oregon.
Thank you so much.
Welcome to the show.
Hey, how's it going?
Great. You've got some fans here.
Yeah, thank you so much.
They're excited you're here. Can you tell us a little bit about the song we're going to hear?
Yeah, so we're going to be playing the hit single from our record, Big and Kind. And this song, I think, is just really indicative of what we're kind of trying to go for. The whole thing. Kindness doesn't mean shrinking yourself. It can mean taking up more space, speaking up for yourself, talking about your boundaries, being clear about them. Sometimes it brings us out of our comfort zone a little bit. Sometimes you have to speak up when it's uncomfortable. Thank you.
This is Non-Binary Girlfriend here on Livewire.
Way.
That was Non-Binary Girlfriend, recorded at the Alberta Rose Theatre. Their latest album, Big and Kind, is out now. That is going to do it for this week's episode of Livewire. A huge thanks to our guests, R. Eric Thomas, Ian Karmel, and Non-Binary Girlfriend.
Laura Haddon is our executive producer, Heather D. Michelle is our executive director, and our producer and editor is Melanie Sevchenko. Eben Hoffer and Molly Pettit are our technical directors, and our house sound is by D. Neil Blake. Trey Hester is our assistant editor. Our marketing and production manager is Karen Pan. Rosa Garcia is our operations associate. Jackie Ibarra is our production fellow. And Becky Phillips is our intern. Our house band is Ethan Fox Tucker, Sam Tucker, A.L. Alves, and A. Walker Spring, who also composes our music. This episode was mixed by Molly Pettit and Trey Hester.
Additional funding provided by the James F. and Marion L. Miller Foundation. Livewire was created by Robin Tenenbaum and Kate Sokoloff. This week, we would like to thank member Morris Malikoff of Vancouver, Washington. For more information about our show or how you can listen to our podcast, head on over to livewireradio.org. I'm Luke Burbank for Elena Passarello and the whole Livewire crew. Thank you for listening, and we will see you next week.
PRX.
Wouldn't it be amazing to have a piping hot episode of Livewire delivered right to your heart and ears each week? Well, guess what? That can happen when you subscribe to the Livewire podcast feed, and you'll get the joy of surprising conversation every week. So go ahead and do it. It's super easy. You click on the button at the top of your podcast app, and bam, you are Livewire subscribed. And if you're still, feeling the love, if you're enjoying the show, hey, maybe you could hook us up and leave us a quick review. That'll help more people find out about Livewire. And thank you.
From PRX.